been criticized for being vocal about opposing the Commission's desire to redistribute the county's sales tax. Why do you oppose it?
It's not necessarily that I oppose it, it's just like I like to know what the truth is. And probably 9 or 10 times I was asked how that all came about. Where did the 75-25 come from? I've lived here my whole life, folks. I've always voted, and I didn't really remember. But I said it's based on miles. It's what it's based on. I know that's what it's based on. And so when all of this came up, I decided that I was going to, Tom Kudamilka is actually the one who got me started on this. He said, Karen, you've got to go back to 1985. So I went to the county clerk's office. I started going through minutes and records. I went to the library, and I went back to 1985. And folks, I'm telling you, if you use that old roller thing, it takes a long time to get through those newspaper articles. And I sat there and went through that. I have about this much documentation on how that money was to be dispersed. Frank Thomas was very meticulous in those newspapers on exactly how that money was to be dispersed. And it was 75-25, it was based on the miles of road, and he went over it and over it. The first quarter cent was to be used to roll back the property taxes. The other quarter was strictly for roads, and it was to be divided. To begin with, it was only Nixa and Ozark were the two cities and the specials. But as it progressed along, they added all of the other cities. There's even some things in the minutes where Fremont Hills came to the commission and asked to be added into the mix. I've got charts, Tom Kudamilka and Bill Barnett, Frank Thomas, all of those guys said it's going to be shared with every entity that does roads. So I was glad that I was able to go back, and I'm going on what was put out there by the commission at that time. And I just stood up and I told what I found, and because I did that, I was condemned because I did that. But I believe in telling the truth, folks.
You know, there are a lot of issues. Seems to be one of the hot topics here in the county, and I think that for the commissioners, this is going to be an issue that's going to have to be resolved. And I think, you know, going back through the minutes of the county's commission's minutes, it is takes a lot of work to find out what was done back then. And you know, the current commission isn't tied by any of the prior commission's decisions. So our needs for our county could have changed. You know, I've talked with lots of people, and there seems to be a lot of opinions on this particular issue. And I think we've got a lot of challenges ahead of us, and the commissioners have a lot of work to do when the elections are over and to figure all of this out. And so I will support, as the treasurer, I will support the duties that I am required to do and support what the decisions that are made that are there.
I would like to respond to that. I've lived here my whole entire life. I'm a little bit different than Mr. Peak. I remember when we traveled on gravel roads, and if you drove behind someone, you either ate their dust or you stayed back far enough where you didn't have to worry about that. And it's nice being able to drive on the nice roads that we drive on today. And I know that I can't make the county commission's decision, but I do feel like when I sit in that office, I've lived here my whole entire life, I should be able to have an opinion, and I've heard Mr. Peak say this, that as a taxpayer, he should be able to have an opinion. Shouldn't I? But I will tell you that that will affect every school district, every fire department, every ambulance, the county commission, Common 1 and Common 2, every entity, the sheriff's department, every one of those things that drive on those roads. If we go back to there's potholes in all of those roads, you're going to be spending more money buying new cars, new tires, and you're not going to like driving on dirt roads. For those of you who have never done that, you are not going to like it.